Knuttila, and this is Al Knuttila, my brother. And we're the sons of Ken Knuttila. Looks like Turner's going to give us a little competition for speaking over here. Can you hear me? No? Hello? Yeah. So I'm Gordon, that's Al.
Speak into it.
Oh yeah. I'd like to welcome you all here today, and I'm glad everyone can make it. Special welcome to those people who are watching on the live stream. I know my dad would like to have everybody here, but this is what we're going to do. So if you could, we're going to do the Lord's Prayer. So please join me in saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And now we're going to do the eulogy. Al's going to start, and he's coming in sometime.
Okay, my dad was born in Vancouver on April 18th, 1941. He was the oldest son of Wilmer and Ina Knuttila. He had one sister, Judy, and two brothers, Eugene and Sydney. They moved to the Finnish community of Webster's Corners when Dad was about 2 years old. His Sukunin grandparents also lived on the same property. They did not speak English well, so Dad spoke Finnish to them quite often. He was proud of his Finnish heritage and of living most of his life in Maple Ridge. Many a day were spent down at Kanaka Creek or working on the family's hobby farm. He went to Webster's Corners School, where he rushed home for his lunch, and then he rushed back in time to play some baseball. He later went to Maple Ridge High School, where he made lifelong friends from his childhood. When he was about 12 years old, his dad caught him smoking, so he said to him, "You might as well smoke at home." And around that same time, his uncle gave him his first beer. The family The family moved to Kelowna around the time Dad was 17, but shortly after, he and Judy ran away from home and went back to Webster's Corners. As teenagers, Dad and Judy did a lot together, including taking dancing lessons. One of Dad's favorite stories was when him and Ed Kennedy were walking on the beach in Penticton, and a guy came up to him and gave him a workout gym shirt with the guy's name on it and said, "If anyone asks, tell him you work out at Rowley's gym." Then his friend Ed said, "Well, what about me?" And the guy said, "Well, tell him you just started." and he would say that story quite often. It was funny. Dad and Mom started dating in 1963 when they went to a Halloween party at Peachy and John's. They were married in October of '64, and then Gord was born on my dad's birthday in 1965, and then I was born 3 years later in August. The first house they bought was on 250th Street, which later had the biggest driveway in the whole neighborhood by far. It was always lots of room to play hockey and different things on it. They eventually moved to their hobby farm, Webster's Corners, which was across the street from where our dad grew up. We had cows, chickens, geese, sometimes pigs, and various other farm animals. We also had a big garden. In the summer, it was normal for us to have a barbecue every Sunday. Whoever was there was welcome to stay, whether family, friends, or neighbors. Our parents are very hospitable and loved to put on gatherings for people. They hosted many parties and family reunions over the years, and there was never a shortage of farm fresh meat or produce. It was a big event to get fish for canning every year. Dad also made some moonshine and some dandelion wine as well. Dad wanted to try raising Black Angus cows, so he bought a cow and a calf. The calf was so wild it went through every fence and once dragged Dad around the yard. Dad named him the Black Bastard. We found out the year after that meat was the toughest meat we ever had. Being Finnish, it was only natural for Dad to incorporate saunas into our family traditions. With the help of Boni, they restored the old sauna on the farm. Sari's garage made them the sauna stove. Along with the swimming pool, it provided much entertainment and socializing throughout the years.
When we were around 10 or 12 years old, our dad got a Santa suit and started being Santa every year. It became our Christmas tradition, driving around from house to house, waiting in the truck while he went inside. Once the police stopped him to ask where address was, because Santa knows everything. He was Santa for Webster's Corners Elementary and events like the real estate Christmas breakfast. He kept doing this long enough to be Santa for his own grandkids as well. As kids, we were involved in hockey and lacrosse. There was never any doubt who our number one fan was. Over the 15 years that we played organized sports, Dad rarely missed a game. He made many sacrifices to be in the stands, and we could always count on him being there. He coached both of us in lacrosse and served on the executive for both minor hockey and lacrosse. He continued to be a dedicated fan for his grandkids as well. Dad's working career began by installing lath with his friend John. They worked in a warehouse. Then he worked in a warehouse for H.Y. Louis for 3 years. With many Chinese co-workers, he got to know all the good Chinese restaurants in Vancouver. And he'd bring us back to them many times over the years. After that, he began working in concrete and started his own business within a year. Maple Ridge Concrete was a source of employment for many family and friends for 15 years. Often brothers, brother-in-laws, cousins, even sons were employed to push the wheelbarrow. In the early 80s, he had a house building company for a few years, but then he began his real estate career. This was a profession that was made for our dad. His easy, friendly manner with people, as well as his trusting ways, made him a top seller in his first year. He enjoyed working with people and knew homes and construction well. Through the years, he often sold people a number of homes, and then he would sell their children's homes as well. He was a realtor for approximately 30 years before his retirement. Dad had many hobbies over the years. When he was younger, he played baseball, playing shortstop or catcher. He was also in a bowling league for many years. In his 30s, he began fly fishing and tying flies. He also began hunting at this time. There were annual hunting and fishing trips with friends and family, and the Joe Ken fishing derbies are very special memories for his grandkids and nieces and nephews. Another highlight was his last hunting trip with his nephews Barry, Ryan, and Ross. He enjoyed how they cared for him, and he said they ate like kings. In his 40s, he took up golf and curling. In his 50s, he began wood carving. Dad enjoyed travel, and he and Mom went on many cruises and eventually got a timeshare that they used to travel to Hawaii and other places. They also traveled around the province with their motorhome, the Finlander. Over the years, Dad has been very active in the community, coaching, serving on committees, planning golf tournaments, and other fundraising events. He was a volunteer firefighter for 5 years as well. He was a founding member of the Meadow Ridge Rotary Club. For many years, his dad and mom hosted Rotary Exchange students, whom still keep in contact with them today. Dad was a Mason and a Shriner. He joined Eastern Star so him and Mom could do things together. He got very involved in this, becoming the Worthy Patron 5 times in their local chapter. He went on to become the Worthy Grand Patron of BC and the Yukon. This was a 4-year process as he went up the chairs with Glennis. They held the first Grand Chapter in the Yukon, with over 600 people attending. They were very successful at raising money for Children's Hospital. Dad was a great storyteller, and he loved to tease, play pranks, tell jokes. I'm sure you've all heard him tell some of the same jokes many, many times. Such as, do you know Martin? You say, Martin who? He says, Martin up. And then there's an older one. Nip, nip, nip in the new blue chair. Bring it here, nose. Nip, nip, nip in the new blue chair. That was one of his favorite. Another one of his sayings is, rubber's gonna hit the pavement. That's when Sometimes we'd be getting in trouble. And don't let the door hit you in your ass on the way out. Many of you remember when Dad would turn his pager off and on, and he'd tell you that he swallowed his radio. You could turn it off and on by touching the mole on his face. Dad was a goal setter. He set goals for whatever he was doing. One bigger goal was planning his 50th anniversary party for him and Mom. Last year, his goals were going to Adri's wedding in Penticton, the opening of Grand Chapter in Vernon, and then to Lyndon's Grad at Depot in Regina. We were amazed he was able to attend these events. Dad's health struggles started when he was in his 50s. He had many trips to the hospital, and many times he was expected to die, but he always rebounded. So even when he died last week, we expected him to come back to life. The last 6 years have been difficult, extremely difficult for him, but as he did with all the obstacles he faced in life, Ken had Sisu. Since June, Dad spent a lot of time in the hospital as his health declined. In the last 2 weeks, he was happy and very content with his life. He was in that in-between place where he imagined he was attending banquets and staying in nice hotels. He told us he even went to a banquet where they fed you so much food, you shit yourself. Can you believe it? He thanked Mom for sending him on such a nice trip. The day before he died was my dad and Mom's 56th anniversary. Mom visited him and talked about their wedding day, and he remembered that they were married on Boblet Street. He passed away the next morning. Family and friends were very important to Dad. He was dedicated to us and our mom and actively involved in our lives. He loved his grandkids and spent lots of time with them. He was always interested in what they were doing. He was a great friend. He was devoted to the extended family and had close relationships with his siblings, in-laws, nieces, nephews, and cousins. He was master of ceremony at many of their weddings and even some of their funerals. He was always there for us and made a big impact on our lives. We will miss him. And now we'd like to play one of his favorite songs, "Wings of a Snow White Dove."
On the wings of a snow white dove, he sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove, when troubles surround us, when evils come, the body grows weak, the spirit grows numb. When these things beset us, he doesn't forget us. He sends down his love, on the wings of a dove. On the wings of a snow white dove, he sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove. When Noah had drifted on the flood many days, he searched for land. In various ways. Troubles he had some, but wasn't forgotten. He sent him his love, on the wings of a dove. On the wings of a snow white dove, he sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove. On the wings of a snow white dove, he sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove. On the wings of a dove. the wings of a dove. Wings of a dove.
Next, we're going to have a number of people come up and do some speeches. So the first two are Arlana and Jillian.
A few years ago, when Ken was really sick one summer, I wrote this letter to him, so I'm going to share it with you today. Dear Ken, I believe a legacy is something we pass on to others, particularly our family. It is things like gifts, qualities, attributes, wisdom, and knowledge. You have passed on a great legacy to us. The first thing the kids would all say is Sisu. You have showed us how to face challenges with integrity, valor, persistence, and never giving up. You have showed us how to set goals and go after them. You have showed us how to get through hard times and come out better than ever. You show us unconditional love, support, and commitment. You encourage our dreams and helped us achieve them. You have modeled hard work and responsibility to us. You are a loyal friend. You are hospitable and your doors are always open. You mentor us and share your wisdom with us. You have showed us how to laugh at a good joke and have fun with our friends. You have given us many great opportunities for education, work, travel, family time, and memories. We have always been able to count on your love and support. You always show up. So many of your qualities have been passed on to your family. Here are a few. For Joanne, Sisu, and trying new things. For Gord, loyalty and responsibility. Al, strong friendships. Jillian, leadership and public speaking. Lyndon, goal setting and working towards them. Taylor, family commitment. And for Jacob, determination and now firefighting. As for me, you've been an incredible father to me. You've given me unconditional love and support. You accept me for who I am and never made me feel like I needed to be someone different. You're interested in my life and ask me what I'm doing. You always welcome me. These are some of the legacies you have given me, and I hope to pass them on to others. I believe the veil between this life and the next is very thin and even non-existent at times. So if you pass on to the next world before me, know that I will miss you and grieve deeply. But at the same time, I will be looking to connect to you through that veil and trust that God will make it happen. Love, Arlana.
When we were only a few years old is the first time that Ken was told that he was dying. And so the family gathered and said their goodbyes, but Ken kept living. His Sisu and his strong will to live allowed us to have a beautiful life with our grandfather, our Grandpa Ken. The biggest lesson that he taught his 4 grandchildren was Sisu. Sisu is a Finnish word meaning go, guts, grit, stamina, and perseverance. But it's more than a word. It's a concept that's integral to Finnish culture and life. From the moment Grandpa Ken made us t-shirts for our Disneyland trip that said Team Knuttila Sisu written on them, Sisu became our family motto. Sisu is about digging deep down within yourself and finding that force that drives you forward, onward, and upward. It's that fire within your belly. It's the power to overcome obstacles and keep moving one step at a time. Sisu inspires you to give your all in everything you do. It allows people to see beyond their present limitations and into what might be. Sisu begins where perseverance and grit end, and it's the second wind of mental toughness that comes to you. A few years ago, the 4 grandchildren got a tribute tattoo for Ken. At first, he was dead set against this idea, especially for the girls. He didn't like it, but we got them anyway. So when Taylor was getting her tattoo in a very painful spot, she yelled out, "Jesus, Joanne!" And it was like she channeled her inner Knuttila, because that was the curse word that he most often said around his grandchildren. By the time our tattoos were finished, Ken actually loved them and showed off the pictures to everyone, so he had a change of heart. Sisu is a lesson we will never forget. We will continue to wear it and try to live by it each day. It is a lesson we will pass on to future generations. Today we've given each of you a mask with the word Sisu on it. We hope that you also remember this lesson and remember our biggest role model of Sisu, Ken. The man who kept fighting, kept going, and was always courageous in the face of adversity. May his Sisu inspire us all.
So I have prepared something that I kind of wrote for Grandpa, and this is my first time doing public speaking, so I might be like really nervous, but I'm not going to think about the 200 people that are watching at home. So I held your hand, I kissed your head, and told you how much I love you, and sang to you. You will always be with me in my heart and in my soul. Memories that I have of you have been resurfacing over the past few days, and I wanted to share them all with you. We all went on a family vacation together back in 2007 on Shuswap Lake. We rented a houseboat for the week, and all the grandkids were back in the boat with the grandparents. So while all the parents decided to go for a putter out of my dad's boat, Old Blue, to the gas station up on the lake, a storm started brewing and the boat started shaking. I can vividly remember holding on to my cousin Jill, saying a prayer for both of our parents, then realizing that both of our brothers were sitting on the back of the boat watching all the waves crash onto the deck. Of course, they didn't have any life jackets on, just feet dangling over the edge, and the water's like going over top of their heads. So both me and Jill brought both the boys inside, and then Ken's sitting on the driver's side steering the boat, and then he goes, "Hey Joe, what's for lunch?" Like nothing's happening out in the world. And then Grandma goes, "Hey kids, want some hot dogs?" And she's cooking hot dogs on the stove while this is happening. So even through storms, both of them managed to stay calm. And then our parents did manage to make it back, but in turn, they were drenched in water. Me and Jillian also went on a cruise with them to the Caribbean. Every night on the cruise boat, Ken had to eat at the steakhouse restaurant. I can remember every night we would get the same waitress, and Ken would always chat with her and ask her about her children back home. He was a very generous man and would always be there for someone in need. He hosted the fishing derby up at Salmon Lake, to where all the grandchildren and nieces and nephews participated in each summer. I remember learning how to prepare a fish for cooking for the first time, and how I was told to, "Suck it up, it's just a fish, it can't bite you now." We would often stay up late outside, looking up at the stars, sitting around a campfire, sharing some stories. My favorites were the one of Webster's Corners and my father and uncle's childhood. Your home has always been somewhere I would always love to go. When I was a child growing up, you would often tell us stories of Cowpoke Linden and Jake the Snake. Also, we would always listen to Johnny Cash, watch Westerns, and then have burnt almond. That summed up a lot of my childhood memories of you. I gave you a heart-shaped rock I had found down at the river by your house when I was younger, and we would always pass it back and forth between each other when we needed it most. It still, to this day, is with me, and I know that I'll be passing it on to the next person in need. In our final moments together, I played a few of your favorite songs and sang to you as I held your hand. And then this is lyrics from Elvis Presley song that I quite like. And it goes, "There will be peace in the valley for me someday. There will be peace in the valley for me, oh Lord, I pray. There will be no sadness, no sorrow, no trouble I see. There will be peace in the valley for me, for me."
When looking back at my life growing up as a Knuttila, there are countless moments and memories of happiness, life lessons, joking around, and love. Whether it was a summer vacation, an event, or even just a family dinner, it's become clear to me that Grandpa played an important role in what made these experiences so memorable. His presence was easily recognized by the warming effect that he had on people. Making friends was a part of his profession, and to that he never retired. Through his well-rehearsed jokes and his seemingly endless insight and interest, whatever the topic, it isn't an exaggeration to say that you would always leave the room more uplifted and with a smile on your face. Along with many things, he was an entertainer, a charmer, a teacher, and a role model. It may be wishful thinking, but I'm hopeful that someday I may obtain even a sliver of his character, so I can be the person that he was to me. It's difficult to describe the impact that he's made on my life, among many others as well. But he was the best grandpa I could have asked for, and each day with him was a blessing and a gift. And we all love him very much.
Lori, could you come up? Lori, could you come up now, please?
Hi, I'm Lori. I'm one of Joanne's sisters, Ken's sister-in-law. They asked me to talk about what Ken meant to Joanne's family. And before I get into that, I'll say that it's going to sound repetitive because I think everybody felt the same way about Ken. And I was once told, if you repeat something 8 times, you won't forget it. So perhaps we can be the uncles, the aunts, the brother, the whatever to people in our lives, because this is what he meant to them. We couldn't talk about what Ken meant to the Simpson family without mentioning Gordon and Phyllis. Ken always treated his in-laws with respect, and the number of times that Ken and Joanne included Mom and Dad in family gatherings is countless, probably in the thousands. Many lively discussions took place between Dad and Ken. Ken somehow managed to show great patience with Dad. Ken had a great relationship with Mom. He was very caring and loving of her. To the rest. Now we are going to be missing Joanne's husband and our brother Ken, our go-to guy for family speeches, memories, and off-the-wall jokes. We've been telling family stories the last few days, many stories and much laughter. We are sure going to miss you, brother Ken. And one of Mark's grandsons, Barry, this is what he would like people to know, how he felt about his Uncle Ken, and I'm sure that his brothers echo these same thoughts. It's hard to put words together to describe what Uncle Ken meant to me. He was always a great storyteller who loved to tease. Some of my earliest memories as a child were sitting on his knee at family gatherings while he showed us tricks or said silly rhymes or stories. I remember camping out in the backyard in his wall tent before one of his hunting trips. We were little, and I don't think we made it the whole night, but that memory stands out, and his hunting stories were what fueled me to get into hunting at a young age. I always wanted to hunt with Uncle, and I got that chance 12 years ago. I had a moose draw, and we headed up to McBride. It was a tough hunt with not many animal sightings. We hunted very hard, and when I finally got a chance at a moose, I went after it. I ended up getting that moose, but packing it out was not much fun. Just ask Ryan and Roscoe. For me, I was really proud to share that trip with Uncle Ken. When we got that moose to the road, I could tell he was really enjoying himself. Him and I did one more trip after that with no luck, but it was quality time and well spent. with one of my favorite people, and I will cherish those trips together. I'm glad my girls got to experience Uncle Ken. He really showed his love for them, just like he showed all of us growing up. He always had great things to say about Hallie and Ava. Always really happy to see them. He will be greatly missed by all, and I feel privileged to have had such a loving uncle in my life. Russell's kids couldn't be here, but they sent me messages that they would like read. From Mark, Uncle Ken always had the best stories. Whether they were made up or real, he will be remembered for a very long time. Nadine said, at all family gatherings, you could see Uncle Ken's big smile on his face. No matter if he was just looking around, chatting with someone, or listening, always a smile. Always enjoyed listening to his MC gigs. Captivated everyone. Darcy said, Uncle Ken, the man that knew how and when to laugh, but never did he judge. And from Leslie's family, Jason, Shane, and Lori, these are some of their thoughts and memories about Ken. Ken wasn't just a brother-in-law and an uncle to us. Ken was a role model. He was there for our family through many good times, and especially there for the bad times too. We consider ourselves very fortunate to have had someone like Uncle Ken in our lives. Family gatherings for Christmas and Easter were significant times. The Knuttila home was always open to all, and you always felt welcome. Other memories like skating on the pond, swimming in the pool, fishing trips, being mesmerized by his magic tricks and pranks will always be cherished. When Jay, Shane, or Lori needed extra advice or counseling, Uncle Ken would always be there. This may have looked like a walk to the chicken coop to feed the chickens or watching and visiting while Ken milked a cow. In later years, it always seemed that you would run into him at the time that you needed him most, even if you didn't know it. There is so much more to say. We could have written a book. The legacy of family values, kind heart, and giving back will live on forever when we remember Ken. Joanne mentioned that when Ken passed, he was calm and peaceful. We take great comfort knowing that he is at peace and catching up with family in heaven. Can you imagine that reunion? Ken will be greatly missed. We will meet again. For me, I was only 8 years old when Ken joined our family. He survived our teenage years and emceed our weddings. Ken and Joanne's home was the whole family's home. The support that Doug and I received for our boys from Ken and Joe is the stuff that memories are made of. The trip from Help Fill a Wish that Ken and Joe joined us on to Disneyland was nothing less than spectacular. Those long days when Ken drove to Children's Hospital for Richard's procedures because Doug couldn't be there were many, sometimes 3 times a week. When I think of Ken, I think of family in capital letters. Ken once told me that the man that does not look after family is worse than the man that spits on Christ. We shared many holiday dinners, fishing trips, and long, long conversations on the phone. We were so lucky to have had Ken for so long in our family. He always managed to keep in touch with everyone. It disappointed him if he couldn't be part of a family gathering. Ken's love for his family was something that he expressed loudly and often. Richard wanted to say how much Ken meant to him, especially at the hospital when he was sick. Uncle Ken was there a lot, along with other family members. Uncle Ken always made me laugh with stories at the hospital. Uncle Ken and Auntie Jo let me stay with them when I first moved to Maple Ridge, which in turn helped me with the success I've had in my life. I wish I could have been with him while he was in the hospital. He was always on my mind. Stephen couldn't be here, but he wanted it said that ever since I can remember, Uncle Ken was surrounded by kids at every gathering and family event. Uncle Ken and Auntie Jo always included children. Uncle loved to meet all the new babies, loved to tell jokes to the older kids, and even had a few magic tricks up his sleeve. Uncle Ken and Auntie Jo have always been supportive to me and my whole family. And from Holly's family, from the Long family, to them, he was Kenny Knuttila, Ken the brother-in-law, Uncle Ken, and when the kids were little, they were Auntie Ken and Uncle Joe. Ken understood the big picture, was a teacher of life, helped teach the meaning of family, and led by example. Very generous. Many, many times, Joe and Ken opened their home to our family so we could all gather. Both put so much effort into all the generations' lives. We all appreciated the time and effort Joe and Ken put into the Salmon Lake Derby. Loved, he was the master of ceremony at all births, weddings, and funerals, telling a joke at each event. Great brother-in-law, and was always commenting on the Simpson sisters burning up the phone lines, teased us and put effort into all of us sisters, helped myself and Bud with many real estate deals. Always weigh the worst case scenario only if you can deal with it. Loved you, Ken. We'll miss you, the large base of our family. You sure have left a legacy with your children's families and grandchildren. Grandchildren, do your grandfather proud, achieve, and follow your dreams. I know that I always talk about our family garden, and our family garden's gained another protector. Ken has moved from the foundation stone to the tall trees that provide the shade and lasting guidance for all of those that are left to miss him. He has made an impact on every life that he touched, and it will be long-lasting. Thank you.
Michelle, if you could come up, please.
Okay, please excuse the nerves and the accent. My name is Michelle, and I was introduced to Ken 3 years ago this Thanksgiving. In that short time, he claimed me as a daughter, his words, and welcomed me into the family. They all did. He satisfied my love for all things foreign with tales of the Finns in Webster's Corner, and thanks to him, I now have a Google search history of many items associated with the word sisu. I've heard many stories about his life with Joanne and the boys, and truth be told, the same stories over and over and over again. Given his cheeky side, it was usually the naughty ones or involving some death of some animal in a horrible way. In the last 3 years, he tolerated my medical advice, and ultimately he always did what I suggested, with the absolute exception of getting out of that chair and going for a walk. I think he secretly liked having a doctor at his beck and call. He would make regular house visits at no cost and ended the consultation with a hug and a kiss. Truth be told, Joanne always fed me enormous amounts of food at these visits, and so that counts as remuneration in my book. I was honored to be his doctor for the last 2 admissions to hospital. Not knowing my special connection to him, the nurses would joke about how good he was covering up his confusion or his grand but false tales of how far he'd walked that morning. My answer was always, he's very charming and he worked in real estate, so don't believe it until you see it. In the last 2 weeks, Ken made the older gentleman in the path unit jealous when he would put his arms around me or hold my hand, as that is not the treatment every patient gets from their doctor. While he was confused at the end, as evidenced by his love of hospital food, Ken was comforted by the love of his family, especially the love of his wife, Joanne. He waited until they got to celebrate their 56th wedding anniversary before leaving us. That is a milestone that not many of us will have the privilege of having. So it appears that Ken had a wonderful life, full of ups and downs, but ultimately one that was filled with love and family. Ken and Joanne created a home where the door was always open and there was no end to the conversation. Joanne, he loved you very much, and I'll miss the way that you always said with exasperation in your voice, "Oh, Kenny."
And Linda, would you please come up?
This is titled Memories of Ken. The dictionary describes friend as a chum, a supporter, and hospitable. Friendship is described in the dictionary as brotherhood. I think you will all agree that this is our Ken and fits him to a T. Never a locked door at the Knuttila house. Everyone welcome. I'm sure you know that Kenny belonged to a few organizations: Rotary, Shriners, Masons, Eastern Star Mitzvah. But there was another group that maybe you didn't know about, and it was a very elite group that he belonged to and was very proud of, and this was called the Dirty Dozen. If you've heard this story before, you're going to have to listen to it again and suffer it out. But because this is the 4th time I have had to tell this. The story goes like this, that when Ken started school at Webster's Corners, a small community outside of what was known then as Haney, a small Finnish community, he met up with 2 other blonde towhead Finlanders, Al Sari and Mel Soderholm. A few years later came another Finn boy, Walter Vessa, and then the 2 Polish brothers, Mike and John Urban. These 6 young men would continue their tight-knit group for over 70 years. They completed elementary school, then high school. From there, they went on to their prospective careers: mechanic, bricklayer, carpenter, cement worker, realtor, operator supervisor for a chemical company, and welder inspector for a steel foundry. One by one, they each met the love of their lives and started married life and families. The first one in 1959, the last one in 1964. Through all these years of marriage, no one got separated or divorced. All the wives got along, and never a falling out with any of us. After November 7th of this year, next month, there would have been 336 years of marriage. I really think that Guinness Book of Records should be involved in this one. In 2020, around there, Kenny had an idea that he wanted all of us to go on a houseboat cruise up in the Shushrop. We planned this for a year with meetings. We were so well organized. We went on, for 1 week, we went on the cruise ship. The temperature for that week never got below 90 degrees. The whole time. It was the most wonderful week and not one argument or disagreement. We have started having the Dirty Dozen picnics and trying to get our children involved and grandchildren. To date, we have now, between the 6 families, 16 children, 23 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. Another one of Kenny's attributes was that, it has been mentioned before, that he made the best Santa Claus. He loved the kids, and for many years at Christmas Eve came to be the different houses and entertained our kids, who are now 50, 55, and 60 years old. Even though our group is getting small, we still try to have our suppers every 2 to 3 months at someone's home. As I said at the beginning, this is the 4th time I have had to tell this story, and it doesn't get any easier. So as it stands now, there are 4 precious ones waiting at heaven's gate for the rest of us 8 to meet them. This next one, I just happened to come across this as I was trying to put the other together, and I felt that I had to put this in, write it out or read it to you today. It's called This Man, and it's so fitting for him. I am all right, though I am no longer here. I am grateful I breathed life and all its substance. A small boy, sometimes lonely, but always loved. Then a young man with friends, lots of laughter, I was blessed. Never a scholar or a wealthy man, but hard-working and honest. Old-fashioned labor that battered the body, but I slept well at night. I married a woman, I loved her so. I held 2 sons, much later 2 beautiful granddaughters, and 2 handsome grandsons I held too. Husband, father, grandpa, my life and my meaning, my smile and my love, and what I did right, I want to share, so you remember me and smile too. Thank you, Kenny, for sharing your life and your journey with all of us.
We're going to go a little bit off the schedule here because I don't think he ever went to a place where he didn't say something at open mic. So if anybody wants to say something or say anything, I know he would look forward to that part too. So there's no pressure, but we just thought we'd better give you the opportunity. Moving on now. Okay, at this time we'd like to say thank you. Thank you to everyone who came, and thank you to everyone who's watching online. Thank you to all those who spoke today. Thank you to Sonia and the staff of the funeral home. Thank you to Dr. Michelle Little for loving care that she gave my dad and helping us all as well. Thank you to the grandkids for collecting the photos and Jill for making the video that we're about to see. Thank you for all of our family and friends for your calls, messages, and visits. Thank you to Lori for staying with my mom all week. Thanks to my mom for all the love and care she gave my dad throughout the years. Thank you to my dad for always showing up and being interested in our lives, as well as showing us love as a husband, a father, a grandfather, a brother, an uncle, and a friend. In closing, we're going to have a slideshow, and when it's over, please join us for lunch in the patio room. And after the slideshow, we're going to play the song, I'll Fly Away. So, thanks.
Myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue.
Well, it's one for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready. Now go, can't go, but don't you step on my blue suede shoe. Well, you can do anything but take over my blue suede shoe. Well, you can knock me down, step in my face, slander my name all over the place. Well, do anything that you want to do, but honey, lay off them shoes and don't you step on my blue suede shoe. Well, you can do anything but take me over my blue suede shoes. Let's go, cat! Steal my car, drink my liquor from an old fruit jar. Well, do anything that you wanna do, but honey, lay off of my shoes and don't you step on my blue suede shoe. Well, you can do anything but lay over my blue suede shoes. Rock it!
The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. When I awoke, dear, I was mistaken. So I bowed my head and I cried. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away. And made you happy, and nothing else could come between. But now you've left me to love another. You have shattered all of my dreams. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Come back one last time. Ma'am, I know you don't know me from Adam, but these handprints on the front steps are mine. Up those stairs in that little back bedroom is where I did my homework and I learned to play guitar. And I bet you didn't know, under that live oak, my favorite dog is buried in the yard. I thought if I could touch this place, I'll feel it. This brokenness inside me might start healing. Out here it's like I'm someone else. I thought that maybe I could find myself. If I could just come in, I swear
where it began, I can't begin to knowing, but then I know it's growing strong. Wasn't the spring, and spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? And touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline,
crickets are singing and lightning bugs are floating on the breeze. Baby, get ready. Across the field where the creek turns back by the old stump road, I'm gonna take you to a special place that nobody knows. Baby, get ready. Ooh, you and me go fishing in the dark, lying on our backs and counting the stars where the cool grass grows.
Rooster crow, clock in when the whistle blows. 8 hours ticking slow. And then tomorrow we'll do it all over again. I'm a member of a blue collar crowd. They can never, no, they can't keep us down. If you gotta label me proud. I belong to the drinking class. Monday through Friday, man, we bust our backs. If you want us, raise your glass. Well, I belong to the drinking class.
Well, I'm tired and so weary, but I must go along till the Lord comes and calls me away. Well, the morning's so bright and the Lamb is the light. And the night is black as the sea. There will be peace in the valley for me someday.
I can make a living from walking in the woods. You can bet I'll be sitting pretty good high on a hill, looking at a field downwind. If I can make a nickel off of turning in bass, never worry about the price of gas. I've been wheeling and dealing and sitting there reeling them in. Hunting, fishing, loving every day. That's the prayer that a country boy prays. Thank God he made me this way. Hunting and fishing, loving every day. Early in the morning, late in the evening, I'm getting red dirt rich and Fleet River pay. Hunting, fishing, loving every day. I get a little farm pond buzz, sound of gravel when I'm backing up, pulling a string on a 9.9 two-stroke. Murphy, I love it when my baby wants to.
Saw mommy kissing Santa Claus underneath the mistletoe last night. She didn't see me creep down the stairs to have a peep. She thought that I was tucked up in my bedroom fast asleep.
Well, life on the farm is kind of laid back. Ain't much an old country boy like me can't hack. It's early to rise, early in the sack. I thank God I'm a country boy. Well, a simple kind of life never did me no harm. Raising me a family, working on a farm. Days are all filled with an easy country charm. Thank God I'm a country boy. Well, I got me a fine wife, I got me old fiddle. When the sun's coming up, I got cakes on the griddle. Life ain't nothing but a funny, funny riddle. Thank God I'm a country boy. When the work's all done and the sun's setting low, pull out my fiddle and I rosin up the bow. Kids are asleep, so I keep it kind of low. And thank God I'm a country boy. I'd play Sally Gooden all day if I could, but the Lord and my wife wouldn't take it very good. So I fiddle when I can, work when I should. And thank God I'm a country boy. Well, I got me a fine wife, got me old fiddle. When the sun's coming up, I got cakes on the griddle. Life ain't nothing but a funny, funny riddle. Thank God I'm a country boy. Fool. Rather have my fiddle and my farming tools. Thank God I'm a country boy. Yeah, city folk driving in a black limousine. A lot of sad people thinking that's a mighty keen. So let me tell you now exactly what I mean. I thank God I'm a country boy. Well, I got me a fine wife, I got me old fiddle. When the sun's coming up, I got cakes on the griddle. Life ain't nothing but a funny, funny riddle. Thank God I'm a country boy. Yeah, sir. The day he died, took me by the hand, held me close to his side, said live a good life, play the fiddle and cry. But thank God you're a country boy. Well, my daddy taught me young how to hunt and how to whittle, taught me how to work and play a tune on the fiddle, taught me how to love and how to give just a little. And thank God I'm a country boy. Well, I got me a fine wife, I got me old fiddle. When the sun's coming up, I got cakes on the griddle. Life ain't nothing but a funny, funny riddle.
this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away to a land where joy shall never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Yeah, when I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Some glad morning when this life is over,